We all know that Karl Jobst is one of the biggest crybabies on the platform. After taking that massive L to our guy, Billy Mitchell, Jobst has been like crying and seething, declaring bankruptcy, making excuses, like it's all been a huge disaster. Probably one of the biggest YouTube declines of 2025. It's been this really, really wild ride, especially if you're like me and have been like following along with the situation as it's been developing. Maybe you noticed something was up with Jobs' statements. Maybe you didn't. But like at the end of the day, the reality of the situation, the truth has come out, and the courts have made their decision. Karl Jobst defamed Billy Mitchell. And what that means is that Jobst owes Billy Mitchell like 1.8 like Australian dollar dues, right? Which is about like 1 million US. So like Jobst is seething. He's kind of like just making all these wild statements, trying not to talk about the situation and yet like freaking out near constantly. It's entirely his fault. Let's be real here that everything bad that's happened to Karl Jobst is entirely because of his own actions. Instead of going out and getting a job, he seriously thought he could have a career speedrunning GoldenEye Dam on the agent difficulty like for his entire life, And he tried to break out of that pigeonhole. He tried to like break out of that community, and he did so by attacking Billy Mitchell. He did the stereotypical drama channel thing by accusing some guy of doing something that he didn't actually do. In this case, like the accusing him of being responsible for the suicide of another YouTuber, Apollo Legend. So all this has come out now. We all know this. And what is Karl Jobst doing? What is he doing now? In the land down under, like seething and plotting. Like, how exactly is he going to damage control the situation? Karl Jobst is threatening to come after YouTubers who make content making fun of him. Like, first of all, you're gonna have to like take down like dozens of videos because I've seen like lots of people come out like making fun of you ever since the ruling came down. Kino Casino has won. Like Billy Mitchell himself has been on fire. With the Twitter with the tweets and just like coming after like talking about like what Jobs has been doing behind the scenes, like, oh, I put my case into an AI generator and it said that I'm due to win. Like, just dumb, like stupid things like that. Like, it's been like this really wild ride, like seeing Jobs just be like totally exposed and like anally raped in front of basically everybody on the internet. It's something glorious to see. It's probably gonna ruin his career. It's probably gonna ruin his long-standing his reputation outside of the speedrunning community, who probably are still like tuning into his videos and still like watching him play GoldenEye on Dam, the GoldenEye Dam on Agent over and over and over again, right? Like I imagine his like core audience of speedrunners are going to stick with him with no matter what. I've actually seen a lot of them, I believe, still believe Billy Mitchell was a cheater and needed to be called out for what he did. But that's not the point though. Like speedrunning is a relatively small niche hobby that not a whole lot of people care about, and honestly, is probably something we shouldn't have a whole lot of respect for. Honestly, uh, but like Jobs like tried to break out of his like YouTube niche and failed. He tried to expand his audience by talking about drama and trying to make this whole like monetize essentially his own legal proceedings, which completely blew up in his face and demonstrated very well like why you can't do that. Jobs is, I think, like the defining example of just what a YouTuber actually is at their core. Like they're all like this, where all they care about is like getting clicks, getting attention, getting money, getting Patreon donations, getting the super chats, getting everything that's getting everything they think they're owed. Like Jobst was probably pulling in like millions of dollars for this lawsuit, right? Like he really got a lot of people fired up to support him to try and destroy Billy Mitchell, right? Uh, he really got his community like into this mindset that Billy Mitchell was an evil person for cheating at a Donkey Kong arcade game and needed to be exposed to everyone. And so like he just did like this entire video series, talking about like talking about like Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell, Twin Galaxies, like their lengthy history, while being extremely misleading, I think, about a lot of key facts about the proceedings. Now, the big thing that like everyone talks about is the Apollo Legend thing, but like I do think one another thing that like Karl Jobst really understated. This is just my opinion, but like as someone who's not into like arcade high scores all that much, uh, even though I do have the Pac-Man high score at my local arcade. Well, I'm not into high scores that much. Okay, um, like as someone who's not super into high scores, I did a little bit of digging into it, and like the way Jobst makes it sound as if he makes it sound as if like Billy has always been a cheater and he's always relied on like twin galaxies and stuff like that to like cover for him, and he had all these lackeys like doing his bidding and stuff like that. Like that was always like Jobst's angle, but like Billy's been doing this since like what, the 80s. Like I think like Guinness like set up the high score thing like in the 80s, right? And he was like, he invited there for Pac-Man or Donkey Kong, I can't remember which, and he was like genuinely good at the game. He was better at that time than everyone else they brought out there. So like the thing about like Jobst is that it makes it sound like, Billy is a complete fraud when in reality he was at some point the best in the world at what he did in arcade games. And I do think that is something that, like, if you really seriously care about this, you really should consider is that, like, you know, Billy Mitchell was, a genuinely good arcade game player, even if he's not like the best in the world now. And I don't even think like right now he even claims to be, but like that's my mindset, like that was my thought when I was like watching Jopes' videos, is that like he really understated like, Billy's actual accomplishments. He really understated like his history in like the gaming sphere, and like his very real contribution to the culture, which I look back fondly, with like the King of Kong documentary and stuff like that. Even as someone who doesn't like who's not super into the high score scene, like I understand like the skill and dedication it gets to for the people who really care about it to get to that level, to get to, like to be the best in the world at like this iconic video game. Like I definitely like do kind of relate to that drive in that way. Um, so I think what Jokes did, like misrepresenting this man for views, yes, it was disgusting, it was ridiculous, it was absurd, and I do think like the community really needs to be more skeptical of these kind of allegations going forward, because Billy Mitchell did not cause the suicide of Apollo Legend. Okay, that that in and of itself is clear, right? So with that being said, people do need to start like respecting like people's legal rights and like their liberties and stuff like that, like not jumping to wild conclusions based on like what some YouTuber is saying, because what Jobst was doing was clearly exploitive. He was clearly trying to bring in a profit to ruin Billy Mitchell, for his own gain, by abusing the legal system. And that's just something that like we really do need to address, is that like YouTubers like trying to harass other people for clout really truly needs to stop.